If it's great to be an Edgewater Eagle, it must be great to be Tommy Hill.
Connolly barely has time to let it go into triple coverage, and Tommy Hill makes the catch.
Tommy is a senior receiver and defensive back.
And Tommy Hill's got it for the touchdown. A perfectly thrown ball by Mobley.
His playmaking ability has made him one of the top recruits in the state of Florida.
I think the thing that really sets him apart is how competitive he is. He's competitive at practice, he's competitive in games, he just wants to play football.
When I just hit the field, just everything out of my mind just empty out. I just play.
You've seen his highlights. This is his story.
It's a rough story, let's say that. It's not a fantasy, let's just talk about that. It's rough around the edges. It made me just become a man at an early age.
This is going to be his year.
Cheryl Williams is excited for the future.
Yeah, we got a whole memory board here that we got to work on putting together.
She also cherishes the past.
I don't necessarily need the pictures as a reminder because I carry them with me everywhere I go in my heart.
But there's no time like the present.
I'm very proud of Dexter. I don't think I'm going to be more proud.
4-6, fourth booked, and here's Dexter Williams. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
Our next senior is Mr. Jack Webster, escorted by his mother Beth and Brian Hurley, his father Dave, Rhonda Webster, and his brother Trigg.
8 seniors are set to be honored. Everyone's here except one, Nathan Hayes, the coach's son.
Our next senior can't join us tonight, but I would like to read a poem in his honor. In our hearts, we thought of you today, but that is nothing new. We thought about you yesterday and the days before that too. We think of you in silence. We often speak your name. Now all we have are memories and your picture in a frame.
I've dreaded this day in a lot of ways, just because I knew how emotional it would be. You know, me and my son always talked about how we couldn't wait for me to coach him one day.
Brandon, you got your food?
I'm just figured I'd get a little, breakfast footage.
Yes.
Day 3, a fresh start. This time, the wait would be short.
Numbers to allow the Bengals to make a pick. Is it the quarterback? I think it's the quarterback pick.
At 12:12 p.m., Chauncey got the call.
Hello? Picks on day 3.
When it rung, I was like, oh, was that the call? And then when he said, yes, sir. So I was like, okay, let me go sit next to him.
Yes, sir.
Like, the next thing you know, my heart started racing, you know, my palms get sweaty, and I thought I was about to pass out.
Yeah, it almost feels like based on that game or seeing him.
I just asked him where he was going. Where we going? That's what I said. I said, where we going? He never answered me. And then he pointed at the TV.
One, 2, 3.
You could walk a mile in Marco Cicchetto's shoes.
So I'm now switching from my walking legs to the running ones.
Or you could run in his finely tuned prosthetics.
So now I am ready with my running legs.
Marco lives and trains in Claremont, home of the 10-mile clay loop.
It's not paved, so it's good for the knees and hips, so I like this.
A destination for some of the best runners in the country, in his case, the world.
In fact, sometimes when I post some pictures from here, some people are like, are you in Kenya?
Kenya is where his story begins.
Growing up in Kenya, looking it back now, it was not an easy growing up. But the lifestyle, going to school, running to school, going to the market to buy some things for the house, all those added up that endurance for running.
In Kenya, Marco followed the path set by many runners before him. He ran track and cross country at a Kenyan college. In 2006, he started getting recruited by American schools. His father sold his farm animals and his shop to get him to the United States.
My dad had 20 kids, 2 wives. So my mom had 11 of us and the other wife 9. So imagine just spending everything that you have on one kid.
When you bet it all, there's always a chance you could lose it.
Now, sometimes we take things for granted until something happens to you, then it gives you a perspective in life.
In 2008, Marco traded in the sand for the snow. He was running track and cross country at the University of Alaska, Anchorage.
Never seen something that falls from the sky other than the rain and you never get wet. And you don't even feel it falling. It's just like dust.
In 2010, his cousin William Riddikwang came over from Kenya and joined the team too.
He was doing good in school, he was doing well in running, and there was no red flags anywhere.
February 19th, 2011. Marco was working at a gym on campus when his phone rang. It was William. He wanted to talk.
And I didn't see any need to just go talk to him at the moment, and it was Friday. I said, we'll talk later. We don't have anything going on tomorrow. There are no classes, so we'll talk. But then we came home and he had hanged himself.
Marco took the loss hard. He blamed himself and says he slipped into depression.
You know, as an African man, you're not gonna accept that you're having a mental breakdown. And even like now that I go around, share my story, a lot of people still have that mentality too, even here in the US. Like nobody really goes around and say, you know what, I just snapped.
Marco was prescribed antidepressants and started getting counseling. April 2nd, 2011, campus police responded to a medical call. Marco had overdosed on his medication. He was taken to a local hospital where he stayed for 28 days. That summer, he says he started to feel better, but by the fall, his depression returned.
And by November of that year, I was just like not seeing any light at the end of the tunnel, as we would say. So then one evening that year, I took some antidepressants and went for a run. So then I passed out from an overdose of that.
Sunday at about 7:15 p.m., somebody who will have known Marco saw him at what we call the Social Science Building.
Marco went missing in the Alaska woods for 56 hours. What do you remember from that run?
The only thing I remember from that run was me getting up in the middle of the night and the moon was shining so bright. Of course, there was a ton of snow on the ground. And at that time, my head was so clear and I knew I was in the wrong place. And if I didn't get out of that place as soon as I can, I knew something bad was going to happen to me.
Frozen and lost, Marco only knew one thing. He wanted to live.
And that adrenaline rush, knowing that I was about to die, gave me that energy to try and get up and get out of there.
Marco later told police that he followed the sound of cars, then he saw lights. Those lights led him to a hotel lobby.
As soon as I opened the door, first thing he said was 911, and that's all he could pretty much say.
Marco was taken to the hospital and treated for frostbite. After 3 days, the doctors were able to save his hands, but not his feet.
You know, it's that moment in life that you are asking yourself, what am I supposed to tell myself now? Somebody walks in and says, hey, we are going to cut your feet, and you know, these are the feet that got you across the globe, you know, from Kenya to Alaska, and all of a sudden, they're gonna be gone.
After surgery, Marco's physical transformation was obvious, but something changed mentally too.
I realized at that moment that, you know what? Things will happen in life. Some you may have control and some you will never have control over them. You just live through them, and this is one of them.
It's been almost a decade since Marco lost his feet.
Let me get my protective gear.
Now he builds them.
So we're using Fabtech to just glue it together.
Marco now leans on his own experiences to help make custom prosthetics for Stan Patterson's patients in Orlando.
Can you show them how you can walk there again? Good. I think it's one of those great comeback stories. You know, it's what we all look at doing here in the U.S. is we never count anyone out. Can I get both of y'all walking together right here? So just right through here, just walk down there and back.
Marco first started running again in 2013.
That way you can have little Only a little bit of pressure on it.
In 2018, he moved to Florida to work for Stan and train for marathons.
And you know, I started training right away, and that year I ran a New York City Marathon.
Marco has also run the Boston and Chicago marathons. He currently holds the fastest known time by a double amputee.
I always feel like this is the second chance that I was given to do all the things that I had planned to do or what I want to achieve in life.
Marco has a wife and 3 kids. He has a job he loves and a running career that's earned him a sponsorship from Nike. Most importantly, he's happy.
As human beings, we have tremendous powers to overcome adversity. So I want that kid out there, somebody watching this story, to know that you can overcome anything in life. It's you telling yourself, you've got this.
In Claremont, Pat Welter, Spectrum Sports 360.